Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to take a look at GamePlus Products Tarot board game size clear sleeves. That is for cards that are size 70 by 120 millimeters. You can buy one pack of these sleeves for $2.99, and for that you get 50 sleeves, which means that each sleeve averages out to about 6 cents per sleeve. This is somewhere on the lower end of the average for sleeves of this size. Let's open it up and see what's inside. I immediately noticed that there is some sort of debris on one of these sleeves, but it just comes right off, so not the worst thing in the world. And these sleeves are glossy and smooth on both sides. There is some noticeable line that appears here at the top edge of the sleeve. And you can even feel a texture here, so that's not a positive sign. It looks like one edge of the sleeve is actually longer than the other edge of the sleeve in terms of their height. So that's disconcerting a little, along the lines with the little bits of plastic that you can see here. And then it looks like one of these sleeves came with a little bend in it. And wow, this one has a much more significant difference, and it looks like the cut is completely off here too. So this does not look promising in terms of their uniformity and their consistency out of the package. But first let's count to make sure that there are actually 50 sleeves here. There are 50 sleeves here, so that's good. Let's check the sleeves thickness. These sleeves are about 1 centimeter thick. That means that each sleeve is 200 microns thick, or 100 microns each face. And now, as you can see, the sleeves actually have a huge variance in terms of their height. And so we're going to have to choose one of the sleeves that seems to be more in the median range. And so we'll just grab one of those and examine that for our dimensions. These sleeves are 73 millimeters wide by 123 millimeters tall. Although since one of the sides of the sleeves is taller than the other one, I don't know how well that's going to actually measure out. Let's go ahead and see how well a card fits. I have a Century Spice Road card here, which is supposed to be tarot sized, and we'll go ahead and put it inside. Alright, it looks like there is a little bit of play on the sides of the sleeve, and this is the much harder part. It doesn't look like the cut at the top of the sleeve is even, but one edge of the sleeve does appear to be quite close to flush with the top edge of the card, while the other one goes a little bit longer, but again, it's not an even cut, so it's hard to say whether or not this is going to provide more protection or not. I would guess no, just because the lower edge of the sleeve is so close to the top edge of the card, and you know, that just doesn't look good that this is not even all the way across, that there's a major issue with the cutting of these sleeves. Alright, it's time for the sleeving test. I have 45 Century Spice Road cards here, and I'm going to sleeve them into 45 of these sleeves here. Ready, set, go. Okay, that took 2 minutes and 17 seconds to sleeve these 45 cards. And that is a slower speed of 3.04 seconds per card sleeved. And I can tell you already right now, the reason why it sleeves so slow is because the tops of these sleeves, some of them are uneven in terms of their edges. So for example, with this sleeve, this edge is very long and this edge is very short. And sometimes when you're trying to put a card in, it's hard to tell which side is on which, and so it makes it a little difficult to put a card into this sleeve and know for certain that you're going to do it right. And the fact that as you're going from sleeve to sleeve to put the cards in the sleeves, because the sleeves have different heights, it's hard to build a rhythm and predict how easy it will be to put a card into one of the sleeves. So that is part of the reason why it took a long time. Now this isn't drastically longer than other sleeves, but it is significant enough that I would say that these sleeves are noticeably harder to put cards into than any other of the sleeves I've tested so far. Now that I've put cards in these sleeves, let's go ahead and check for their uniformity and consistency out of the package. It's not a surprise that the tops are not uniform. You can visibly see that some of the card sleeves are longer or shorter than others. And they're not even on a single individual sleeve, because some of them will have a short edge and some of them will have a tall edge. And so not consistent at all at the top, even within one of the same packs. But it's also noticeable that some of the sleeves are actually wider and some of the sleeves are actually thinner than others. And so you can actually feel it on the side that some of these sleeves are going to be smaller or maybe just be deformed in terms of their actual widths. So that is also not a positive thing. And as such, I feel like it's going to be hard to commend these sleeves for the quality of the sleeve out of the package. Now it's time for the shuffle test. I'm going to shuffle this sleeve deck 100 times and see how long it takes. Ready, set, go. Okay, it took 3 minutes and 2 seconds to shuffle these 100 times, and that is a slow speed of 1.82 seconds per shuffle. This is noticeably slower than the fastest shuffling of the sleeves, and I also noticed that because of the unevenness of the top edge of the sleeves, I actually found it hard to gauge whether or not I had a good grip on it when I was taking a half of the deck and putting it into my hand. And so this definitely slowed me down a bit because I wanted to make sure that I didn't fully just drop it every time. And so I had to gauge carefully at whether or not with my fingers that I had a good grip on it. And as you can see, some of the tops of the sleeves sponge a little bit as you grab onto the top edge of the sleeved cards. And so that made the shuffling process a bit more cumbersome, and it also requires a little bit more effort to push the sleeves in together, and so that does also slow down the shuffling process a bit. And then I think that there is definitely a noticeable width issue in terms of the consistency of the width, and that also makes it a little harder to grip the deck as you hold it. Also, I will also note that the corners on these sleeves are extra pointy, and so they can actually bite you a little, and you do feel the corners sometimes when they poke into your skin. So that is also results in probably the least comfortable shuffle feel that I've experienced for maybe any card sleeves. So this is definitely one of the least pleasant to shuffle, at least in terms of a mass shuffle. Let's see if a riffle shuffle works out well for these sleeves. Not that well. The rigidity of the sleeves prevents a good riffle shuffle, but you can also riffle shuffle them. I think that you're going to find some issues as well in the riffle shuffle feel. Now that I have handled these sleeves a bit, let's go ahead and check for any noticeable wear. Alright, in general, I think that the surface of the sleeves hold up pretty well. I didn't notice any major scuffing. There are some really mild dents and divots that have appeared in some of these sleeves, but they're so mild that I don't think that I can even catch them on camera, so that's not really going to be an issue either. One issue that I do think that does arise from the fact that these sleeves are very uneven in terms of their height, some of them being longer than others, is that you're going to notice a little divot that gets developed if you're mass shuffling these as you press on the top edge of some of these sleeves, and it's going to cause them to bend a little, and over time I think that's going to cause the top edge of the longer sleeves to bend significantly and possibly end up developing a permanent divot where your finger goes into the sleeve. And so that's going to be a point of wear. The bottom corners of the sleeves, however, remain quite pointy and unhindered by the handling of the card sleeves. Aside from the major issues in terms of the production of the sleeves out of the package, so these sleeves don't come out in good form, They do actually hold up okay if it weren't for the fact that the top edges of the sleeves are of varying heights, and so I cannot trust that these sleeves are going to hold up very well. And since one of them comes with a bent corner, I also am concerned that the corners are going to take abuse of these top edges where they're not even. So the quality, I think, of the surface of the sleeve is decent, and I would even say that it's quite good. The way that these sleeves are malformed is going to probably cause these sleeves to wear out a little bit faster, and so not a fan of that. Next is shake test. I've stacked these 45 sleeved cards into a deck. I'm going to shake the table that they're on for a couple seconds to see if the deck holds up. Ready, set, go. Alright, this is one place where these sleeves pass without much problem. There was a little bit of sliding from the bottom card, but aside from that, I think that this deck is not going to have an issue with toppling just because you have sleeved these cards. So that is a positive thing. Next, I'm going to draw 3 cards off the top for the draw test and see how well the deck holds up. Ready, set, go. There is a little bit of static that pulls some of the cards with the rest. It doesn't cause it to topple, so this is still a pass, but you will note that sometimes when you're pulling a card, you might pull multiple cards at the same time. So not the best handling, but it is a pass because you're not going to topple the deck by taking a card off. And that is as much a function of the large size of these cards as it is these particular sleeves. So what do I think about these sleeves? Well, I don't think you should buy them, and that's because these sleeves are not even at the top, and you know, some of these sleeves like just look terrible. Like, look at this thing right here. When you put the card in, it doesn't even go in straight because this isn't an actual rectangle. It's like some weird quadrilateral, because as you can see over here it's longer, over here it's shorter, and the top edge of this card is actually exposed past the edge of the top edge of the sleeve, and that is just not the kind of construction of a sleeve that you should expect. And that's one really weird looking one, but like, look at some of these sleeves right here. Like, look at this. Okay, if you look at the back right here, this edge of the sleeve is just flush with the top edge of the card, and then this edge is like 2, maybe 3 millimeters longer, and it's not even straight. There's like a little bump in the middle here, right? Perfect for a finger to get locked onto. There are just major production problems with some of these card sleeves. I think this sleeve is supposed to be how maybe it's supposed to be, but even then, it's not really an even cut here. Like, as I run my finger along, I can tell that this edge is taller than this edge over here. And so, yeah, the production problems with these sleeves are not forgivable. Like, you really shouldn't buy these because this should never come out of a pack. You should never have card sleeves that are so malformed. The one good aspect of these sleeves is that, you know, the surface of the sleeve is actually quite good, but that's not gonna make it worth buying these sleeves when they have such noticeable production issues. And even the lower end of the price, even as a budget sleeve, I cannot recommend these sleeves. So that is a complete failure. Do not buy. Let me know what your experiences with these sleeves are. If you've purchased them before, did you get a pack that was this bad, or have your packs been actually good and I just got like some really, really rogue, terrible quality control pack or something? If you have experience with tarot-sized sleeves in general, I also have links in the description below, so go ahead and click on those and you can share your experiences in terms of their consistency and durability out of the package, and that'll be available at the Innit Games resource page. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.